Okay, so in the chapter 3 of the book of Ruth, starting at verse 2, and now is not Boaz of our kindred, whose manes thou wast? Beholdeth, he winnoweth barley tonight in the threshing floor. So everyone's familiar with the winds of change. So in Revelation 7, the four winds, that's signifying the end of this flesh age. Again, the four is for the world. So it's going to be a big event that will change all remaining flesh into their spiritual bodies. And we're told not to blow, we're not told not to blow the trumpets, okay, until the servants of God are sealed in their foreheads. History, which our Father is in complete control, it's about to change. Ruth had been married to one of Naomi's sons, okay? And Ruth and Naomi had both been left a widow, and now the process is going to start so that Ruth will marry Boaz. And I just believe it's a wonderful love story. And through that line, through the union of Boaz and Ruth, will come David, and in the generations to follow, Jesus Christ. So verse 3, wash thyself therefore and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor, but make not thyself known unto the man until he have done eating and drinking. Anoint, that's Matthew 26:7. The woman anointed Jesus' head. In John 12:7, Mary anointed, not Mary's mother, but a different Mary, anointed his feet. The raiment, this is the third verse of the third chapter, and third is for divine completeness. I think it's really important. Raiment in the New Testament. In Luke 23:34, the Roman soldiers cast their lots for his vesture. Okay? Now, if they're gambling for his vesture, and they were casting lots. Lots are, your land. If they're basically betting their lands for his vesture, they must have been pretty valuable. 23 in biblical numerics is for victory over death. 34 is for naming of the son. So here again is a perfect example how the emphasis was put on the earthly. The soldiers, they cast a lot. Again, they must have been of great value. Would you gamble something that wasn't of great value? But here, the soldiers are at the feet of Christ. Okay, they could have asked him anything. Okay, remember with the each of the two men that were by him. Okay, and one mocked him, and the other one, said, "Hey, Lord, remember me when thou enterest into the kingdom." So in verse 36, they mocked him, which only, could only make matters worse. When Jesus has the important job he is sent here to do, to die for us on the cross, his body was anointed. He was the anointed one. Christos is number 5547 in the Greek, means anointed, and he put on his finest clothes. So here Naomi is telling Ruth to get cleaned up, put on her finest clothes, and to not tell Boaz she is there until he is done eating and drinking. After a few drinks, his heart will be a little merry. So in verse 4, Naomi's instructions to Ruth are going to continue. And it shall be, when he lieth down, thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie. And thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. So Naomi concludes that after Ruth has done what Naomi has told her to do, Boaz, he's going to take it from there and instruct Ruth what to do. And verse 5, she said unto her, all that thou sayest unto me will I do. I mean, that's really smart. She's listening to her mother-in-law. So she's really being very loyal, and she's going to follow Naomi's instructions. Now, Jesus' prayer to our Father in John 17, the whole chapter, it's a declaration that Jesus indeed had done everything that his Father had sent him to do. So on a personal note, I was blessed to have a flesh son like Jeremy, because in every instance, he did as I instructed him to. He never argued and had very little trouble. Of course, he wasn't perfect, but very fine young man. Verse 6, and she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. So what a lesson for us all as God's children to learn. Verse 7, and when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lay down at the end of the heap of corn. He was blessed. He had a heap of corn, and she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down. Boaz, after a hard day of work, had something to eat and drink. He's feeling good and laid down. He had to guard his crop. They didn't have things like crop insurance. Okay, so she came softly. Boaz didn't know she was there. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and behold, the woman lay at his feet. So picture that. He's laying there, he's eating, he's drinking, and he's guarding his crop, and someone's uncovered his feet. Okay? And he awakes to find a woman laying at his feet. Now, wouldn't that startle you? It would me. Okay? Verse 9. And he said, Who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thy handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thy handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman. Okay? So the marriage ritual is about to begin. So just as the Lord addressed Jerusalem in Ezekiel 16, verse 2, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations. Verse 3, and say, Thus saith the Lord God unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother a Hittite. Verse 8, And now when I pass by thee and look upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine. Jerusalem became the Lord's God's wife. And again, Jerusalem will be Jesus' bride. So on a personal note, Jeremy's mother became my wife. And we're going to pick it up in the book of Ruth at verse 10 in the next study.